Florida is the first state in the U.S. to have locally transmitted cases of the Zika virus. The state rakes in billions of dollars from the more than 100 million visitors that go there every year. So now it may be facing a major financial challenge, trying to keep tourism up despite Zika fears. CBS News travel editor Peter Greenberg joins me now from Chicago. Peter, what kind of impact are you expecting Zika to have on Florida's tourism? What's the real economic concern here?
Well, it already is having that impact right now because you deal with short-term and long-term bookings. Most Americans are booking 6 months ahead for their winter trips, and you may not see a lot of advanced bookings because of that fear. You have a lot of short-term cancellations from European travelers whose own countries are basically telling them they may not want to go to Florida. That's happening, but the most significant impact will not be among just tourists, it's meetings and conventions in cities like Orlando and Miami. That is the very big business aspect of it, and that's what the state officials are really worried about, losing that really big chunk of change. And the problem is a lot of the people who actually book these trips tend to paint geography with a rather broad stroke, meaning that they're not looking at that small community in Miami. They're looking at Orlando, and they're looking at other parts of the state that may not even be affected or may never be affected, and that's what they're worried about.
Which could have wide-ranging impacts. And how long do you think it would take Florida's economy to recover from that kind of thing?
Well, you don't recover from revenue you can't recoup. So it's a matter of how much you're going to lose. It's not about how do you recover, it's how much you're going to lose, and then you deal with it 6 to 9 to 12 months out, because that's how these bookings are done. We're already seeing a drop-off in reservations in Florida now from people who are going to be coming over from Europe. But most Americans right now that have made their plans for the summer are sticking with them. It's the ones that are looking at November, December, January, the high season. Those are the ones that are getting scared right now.
All right, I'm going to put you in the role of everybody's wise uncle. If people are planning a trip to Disney World, which is in Orlando, not even close to Miami, should they be worried about the Zika virus? And should travelers heading to Florida cancel their plans?
They should be concerned and not worried. What Dr. John LaPook said and what you talked about in the earlier reports about standing water applies not just to Miami, it applies to the entire state and all the other states that could be affected. Remember, we're talking about a disease that travels, and it doesn't know any boundaries right now. But you have things you can do to basically mitigate it and then allow yourself to have some common sense in terms of your own personal protection, the clothing that you wear and where you wear your socks, where you put the DEET on in terms of the protection on your skin, how you put it on, how often you put it on, especially if you're going in the water or going in the ocean.
JetBlue said this week that travelers to destinations affected by Zika, including Miami, can qualify for a refund or change their plans. Cruise ships leave ports from Florida, and it's a major international hub for people who don't want to cancel their vacation plans. Is there anything they can do to protect themselves and help prevent the spread of the virus?
Well, there is. In situations like this, the airlines have issued waivers, as JetBlue has done. And the cruise lines is a different situation because they have rather draconian refund policies, and that's where you cut in with cancellation and trip interruption insurance, which anybody can buy. The real problem is, and the insurance companies are kind of cagey about this, it's sort of like buying fire insurance after your second floor bedroom was already on fire. It's like weather insurance after a hurricane has already been named by the National Weather Service. So you have to check your policy carefully in the language of that policy on that trip cancellation and interruption policy to make sure that it doesn't cover this in terms of was it already announced, was a warning already issued. Once a warning is already issued, you may not be able to buy an insurance policy that will cover you.
Peter Greenberg in Chicago, good to see you, my friend. Thank you so much.
You got it.